Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how I package plants when I go places with me. The last time I made these videos, I did it pretty differently than I do now. So I wanted to give you an update on how I take plants with me when I go places. I'm actually about to go to Arizona. When you guys see this video, I will already have been back for a few days. I'm going to show you my little travel box. I'm not going to show you the top of the lid because it does have my number on it, but this is the box that I use to take with me when I travel with plants. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe. Maybe you've been binge watching my videos and just forgot to hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the community. Also, I have YouTube memberships, which you can check out at the link in the description. But other than that, let's just get into it. I have this box. This is my Plant Me box. This is the one I take with me when I go places. I used to throw them out every single time, but I found this one and I really like it. In this box, I have some different materials like a bag. Honestly, this is all stuff I used to take plants back with me last time, so like all this can get thrown away. I keep all the polyfill though, so. And the reason I have all these bags is because you never know when you might need to buy another plant on the way to the airport, which I have done before. Provide some extra humidity should you need it. Okay, so the polyfill is really important, which I'll tell you about later. But this is my box. It's not that big, but it's as big as it needs to be. I did have one that was bigger at some point, and then silly me threw it away. This is just big enough that it's gonna fit underneath the seat in front of you in the airplane. It can fit in the overhead. It can fit literally anywhere. So that's why I really like this one. Also, the lid is super duper heavy duty, and it's, I don't know, it says live fragile plants on the front with my phone number and name on it. So in case it gets lost, you know, someone can call me. So how I do this typically is I take a bunch of my plants and I'll either have moss, like if I'm leaving Seattle, there'll usually be moss at the bottom of the bin to help keep all the plants stabilized and also humid. And then we'll put polyfill in the top in between all the leaves so that it doesn't move. The last time I left Seattle, we just did moss only, and that was a huge mistake because someone took my box and flipped it upside down and all my plants went everywhere, and then I did this. And that was really uncomfortable. So a box that no matter what isn't gonna get flipped upside down because it's small enough. And you know, on top of all of that stuff, it's small enough I can actually safely put in front of me on a plant. I'll get a plant out. So in front of me right here, we have a few examples. This is a plant I actually did just travel with not long ago, and I've gotten it to get quite a bit bigger. And then right here, we have my Homalomina and then a little pink princess that one of my members sent me. Usually, I'm not gonna be traveling with plants any larger than this. Last time I did, I traveled with 2 larger monsteras, and what I did is I took a bag, wrapped it around the pot, took the plant out of a pot, wrapped the plastic bag around the soil, put that back in the pot, taped over that, and then wrapped it up in paper towels and polyfill. Usually I'm not going to be traveling with anything larger than this because I don't want to. Unless I get a plant that's just like way bigger, I really want to avoid traveling with anything kind of bigger than a 4-inch or a 2-inch. So what I would do in this little situation right here is I would wrap this whole plant in a plastic bag. That is because I want to keep it nice and humid. I would wrap around all of the little tangles up there, and I would give it just enough like extra air in here that it's gonna stay humid, but I also want it to be able to fit in the box really like nice and safely. This last time I traveled with plants, I did things a lot more risky because we were running out of time and I bought extra plants on the way to the airport. These ones, what I would do is I would take some toilet paper, I would push it into the soil around and under the leaves, and then I would use tape to keep it in place. I would then use a paper towel roll like this, and then I would push the leaves up just delicately, and I would wrap it like this, so that way the plant's leaves are gonna be protected. So it's gonna be like nice and protected, and then I would make sure I'm not crimping the leaves. I would look inside, that's where about the leaves are, and I would crimp it down like this, and then tape that into place. I do this almost every single time I travel with plants because no matter what, this is gonna keep the plants the safest. Then I would tuck it in here nice and safely, and I would do the exact same thing with this one, except I might wrap plastic wrap because this is a plant that really, really loves humidity. So I would do exactly this, but then I would get plastic wrap plastic wrap around all of this and the bottom to make sure that we're keeping the humidity inside. Then once I have everything situated, for the most part, I would fill the rest of this box up with plants, and that's when I would take my polyfill and make sure that everything is staying nice and safe. Obviously, I'm not wrapping this as much as I would be if I were actually traveling because I don't need to right now. But essentially what your end product should be is like polyfill or some sort of something to keep everything in place, so much so that if the box were to get turned upside down, damage would be minimal. And as long as you're keeping things packed like this could get turned all the way upside down and we wouldn't really have an issue. This one I would be more worried about because the leaves are a little bit longer. So another thing you can do is you can add little wooden stakes inside of your packaging. This is something that Botanicas does. They take these little teeny tiny wooden like sticks, they stick them in here, and then they take the paper towel and they'll wrap them over the sticks. So that way, if someone were to try to accidentally bend the leaves or the plant fell upside down on itself, the stick would stop it from being crushed because it's not gonna move. Nothing is gonna come out of the soil. I can turn this plant upside down and it's gonna be completely safe. I wrapped it up as if I were to ship it, and that went really well. Other ways I've also traveled with plants is carried a very large like tote bag, kind of hard piece at the bottom, you know, those nicer, larger shopping bags you might get from Nike or something. I'll put my plants loose in there in their pots and just wrapping the soil with the paper towel. But whenever I have done this, I have had broken leaves. It's really hard if you're traveling with your plant leaves out like this and they're larger. Like maybe you have a 6-inch pot like I've had before. You might have a leaf that sticks out over the edge and that gets caught in the thing in TSA. So you wouldn't want that, which is why I again recommend only traveling with like smaller plants and putting them in a box, because when you have the lid on your box, like there's nothing that's gonna hurt this as long as you polyfill or wrap everything correctly. Here's kind of the way that I would do it. And I'll probably make a video, we'll see. I really don't like making these videos. I know you guys request them a lot, but you guys request them without checking and seeing if I've made these videos before, because I've made 2 of them. They don't really get a whole lot of views, but here we have one in a little bag. He's gonna be nice and protected, and Peperomia are super resilient. So I wouldn't mind traveling honestly with him just like this, as long as I then went and took polyfill and put it around him so he wouldn't like shake or move. Then we have the way where you literally just wrap the soil and then you tape it. Maybe you're wrapping, you know, a plastic baggie around it as well. And then we have the method where you're literally wrapping the entire plant to minimize any damage. There are so many ways to travel with plants, and not any of them are the sole correct way. I really want to make sure you guys like hear me say that. I used to travel, and sometimes I still do travel with plants just like free in a big tote bag. It's so easy to just collapse the bag down, stick it under the seat in front of you. But let's talk about TSA. When I've traveled with plants in the past, 2 or 3 times I think TSA has stopped me because they want to inspect my plants. One time was when I had a bunch of cactus. Another time was when I had, I don't know, a bunch of stuff. What I like about the clear box method is that they can see all the way around. And I also have my box labeled live houseplants. No matter what, they know that I've like declared what this is. Then usually what they'll do, they'll take the lid off the box. They'll probably want to poke around inside a little bit. What I usually do is I tell them how expensive the plants are, the estimated value, and I caution them greatly against breaking anything. I've had like people as chill as wanting to check my box, looking it up, opening it inside, literally just seeing houseplants and being like, do you have any in there? And I say no. And they're like, all right, thanks. And then I've had people who actually wanna, you know, undo my plants. And What I've learned is that if you have a lot of fertilizer in your soil, it makes that your plants more likely to be checked because fertilizer goes off on the sensor. So if you can travel with your plants bare roots, then probably should do that. But I personally would rather have them hand check my plants than stress my plants out by bare rooting my plants just to travel for a few hours. I have, however, had, unfortunately, it happened to me where someone turned my plants upside down and all of my plants looked to be wrecked. And that was absolutely horrifying. And that was the one time we didn't use polyfill to try to keep everything in place. In my head, it was like, why would they do that? Why would someone do that? Why would someone turn the box upside down? And I just didn't think to foolproof it. They had me file a claim. I never pursued the claim any farther than that because my plants ended up being okay, except for my green leopard begonia. That was the only one that didn't really make it. The people were really, really nice, especially because I was crying. And I felt really bad because I embarrassed the friend who was with me, but I'm sorry, not sorry. I can't control that. I was really upset. I didn't even film what the box looked like, you guys, because I didn't think to. Because as soon as I got to take the box away from them, I just fixed the plants. My whole thing was I have to make sure the plants are okay. Literally, my plants were totally upturned. The moss was everywhere. The plants were mostly okay, but we did have quite a few broken leaves. They filed a claim, and if I had pursued that claim and had been able to actually show damages and prove damages, I would have been reimbursed by the airline. And even the guy at the airline was like, we pay these out all of the time. So worst comes to worst, if you don't do a good job packaging your plants like I didn't do that time, it'll be okay because if you can prove damages respectfully. Oh, I found that if I tell people that the plants are really, really expensive, which usually they are, they'll be a lot more careful because if TSA agents damage stuff, they get in trouble. So they don't want to damage anything. So as long as you communicate to them, what's in the box as they're doing it, I find that it goes a lot more smoothly. When I've had them check plants in bags, the loose ones, they want to check the soil, which I don't love, but I have had them a couple times take the pot out. But at the end of the day, I don't really care what they have to do to check the plants as long as I get to take them home. Also, if you encounter someone, which I have before, who tries to tell you that you can't travel with houseplants, just be really nice and respectful and say okay, why don't we grab your manager then? And the girl's manager came over in that situation was yeah, there's no reason why they can't travel with these. If you do get someone who tries to tell you you can't travel with plants because they've never seen it before, or whatever reason that they have, just ask to grab their manager. Their manager has definitely seen it before, and just try to be nice and respectful because I got a little bit in a tizzy when someone was trying to tell me that when I just a couple days before flown in with plants. Anyways, I think that those are all of my little plant shipping tips. If you have any very specific questions, please don't be afraid to ask them in the comment section down below. And yeah, other than that, I think that'll be the end of this little video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you hit like, subscribe, and tweet me at PlantMeAshley. Follow me on Instagram as well at PlantMeAshley, and also follow me on TikTok, Twitter, and follow our Reddit at r/PlantMeMemes. It's a good time. Also, don't forget to check out my membership program. It is only $5 a month for the cheapest version, and you get so much out of it. It's honestly really, really worth it. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next houseplant section, and thank you so much for the extra channel support to Carissa Lawrence, All the Green Places, and Botanicas. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye!